Welcome to the Connected Leaders Academy virtual conference designed to reshape your vision of transformation. As we navigate the evolving business landscape, our speakers will unveil innovative strategies to manage and initiate change. Prepare to adapt, innovate, and lead, ensuring your role in this transformative era.
It is such an honor speaking with you today. My name is Alethea Felton, and I am the Resilience Architect. And what that means is that I help leaders, entrepreneurs, those who are leading teams to master resilience and to transform their setbacks into unstoppable breakthroughs. You know, this journey of resilience has started with me, and I know all about unleashing resilience. And that is what I'm going to bring to you today because this is something that we all need as leaders in our respective roles. And so, therefore, when I think about unleashing resilience, I know that it is the key to transformative leadership success. You see, resilience, it's that quiet force behind every leader's success. It doesn't make headlines and it certainly doesn't draw applause, but without it, every setback can feel insurmountable and every challenge seems to hover over our heads larger than it truly is. Resilience isn't the ability to bounce back. No, it is the capacity to move forward with purpose, clarity, and strength, no matter what comes your way. Leadership is often viewed through the lens of achievement. Our society tends to admire the entrepreneurs who scale their businesses or the executives who tend to inspire their teams, as well as the innovators who reshape various industries and the landscape. But I think that the real measure of leadership lies in how we navigate through the moments that are the most challenging, those times when the best laid out plans falter, the unexpected strikes can happen with those who are on our team, or even the weight of responsibility feels overwhelming. Resilience, I've actually come to understand, isn't born out of ease. It's not born out of convenience, but rather it is formed and it's forged in the fires of adversity, in those challenges, in those nights when you're crying and you're by yourself and no one sees. It's those times when people see your glory without knowing fully your story. My own personal journey has made this truth uncomfortably clear. And I have four strategies under the guise of the word lead, LEAD, which will help you form your own transformative success. You know, there was a personal turning point, somewhat of my call to my own life's adventure. And there was a time when I thought I had it all figured out. You see, although I've been in entrepreneurship for 20 years, that road has not come easily because I was doing it as a side hustle. Something as a side business, something to make extra money. And I thought when I get old, I'll become an entrepreneur. So I had a catering business. I did multi-level marketing. I did holistic health coaching. And while I had a certain level of success, what was happening behind the scenes was so much internally that was going wrong for me. Like many of you, when I did my early entrepreneurial ventures, I did have a plan, a vision, as well as the ambition to actually match. And I had set certain milestones for my career as a public school educator to then transition into entrepreneurship full time. I thought even in those roles of me being a public school educator, I had leadership roles. And my path was clearly defined, it was clearly laid out. I was going to be a teacher, then I would get my principal's certification and move into different leadership roles, which I did well and earned national board certification and won accolades and was responsible for so many students and teachers in these different school level based roles, all while juggling my own business. But what was happening was I was dealing with health crises. You see, I was born with autoimmune illness. I was born with a defective liver and an entire gastrointestinal system that was totally out of whack, being diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So, with running businesses as well as carrying a full load 9 to 5, that unexpected health crisis stopped me suddenly in my tracks. Suddenly, the clarity that I once had about my goals, my leadership, and even my own identity felt clouded. I was used to being that one, whether in the classroom, whether in social activities and different organizations, I was that one that others turned to, the one who could push through, adapt, and find solutions. And think about yourself. Perhaps you are in that role of being that one, of the person that everybody goes to, calls on, the problem solver. But see, this time it was different. This time, this wasn't a pause. It was truly a crossroads. It was a reckoning. It was a moment to fully decide whether I would allow circumstances to define me or whether I would redefine myself in the face of them. And the huge crossroads came in 2012 when I was told that I wouldn't have much time to even live. I was going to soon cease to exist on this planet. And that's when I came full circle about what is my life going to be and how am I going to be this role model for the people that I am leading when I just want to stop and throw in everything. So that begs the entire question of this: will adversity come? See, this is the crossroad that every leader faces. Now, it might not be health, but as human beings, we all go through something that will test our faith or lack thereof, something that will test our strength, endurance, our purpose. And so the question isn't if adversity will come, but rather it is how we respond when it does. When I think about people who have overcome adversity in some of the most interesting of ways, I can't help but go back to my childhood of when my mother played music from La Reina de la Salsa, Celia Cruz, all throughout the house. See, when I think about resilience, I'm reminded of the queen of salsa, Celia Cruz. She is legendary, and she was a rising star in Cuba when she faced an unimaginable challenge. You see, there was political upheaval in her country, in her homeland, that forced her to flee. And she abruptly had to leave behind everything she knew: her family, her friends, her roots, all of the creativity that she laid down in her homeland of Cuba. So imagine the uncertainty that Celia Cruz faced, having to get on a plane without prior warning. They didn't even tell her she was leaving until she got in the air. And she had to go to a new country, learn a new language, and have a completely unknown future. Yet, instead of letting those challenges silence her, Celia Cruz's voice became louder, stronger, and more powerful. She led her own band. She, along with her late husband, Pedro Knight, booked tours, and she carried the essence of Cuba in her music, infusing every note with her rhythms and the stories of her language and her heritage. Celia Cruz's resilience allowed her to reign, as I said, as La Reina de la Salsa, La Guarachera, not just surviving, but thriving in a way where she left a legacy across generations. And her signature phrase, azúcar, sugar, wasn't just a rallying cry, but rather it was a reminder to find sweetness in the most bitter moments. Celia's story, for me, is a powerful example for how we as leaders can turn adversity into a source of strength. And for leaders, especially entrepreneurs and innovators, setbacks are far more than personal challenges. They can feel like threats to businesses, reputations, to even our very teams that we lead. But the truth is, adversity is that catalyst, that rocket ship, that launch for the truest, realest transformation. I began to understand as I was in those hospital rooms, and then as I subsequently experienced grief or heartache or just life challenges in general, that leadership isn't about being immune to struggle. We're all going to get it, but it's about learning to lead through it. I had many people to say, just go on full time disability, simply quit. But no, 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 no. As long as I had breath in my lungs, and as long as you have breath in your lungs, there is something that we can still give to serve the world. Resilience isn't a buzzword, but it's practice. Resilience teaches you that it's not about avoiding those hard moments as a leader. It's about deciding what those moments will mean. It is much simpler for us to just lay in bed all day and not want to face the world. But for leaders, setbacks can either become roadblocks or stepping stones. See, that is the choice that will define both our leadership and our legacy. And this shift in perspective led me to come up with this lead framework, which is a guide for you as a leader to not navigate challenges, but to use them as fuel for growth and eternal influence. See, the lead framework is built on four key principles that empower you as a leader to transform these setbacks into breakthroughs and truly have resilience unleashed. Resilience first begins with that L. In order to really master this, look within yourself. It begins with self awareness. As an effective leader, take the time, as tough as it may be, to examine yourself. See, effective leaders take time to examine themselves, their inner world, their values, motivations, desires, fears, dreams, and far more. This is where the clarity resides. See, for me, it meant looking from within and confronting the discomfort of vulnerability. It meant asking questions like, what legacy do I want to create? I don't have children, but can I still leave a legacy? What truly drives me? And the answer is yes. See, these reflections are the foundation of resilience because they anchor leaders in their purpose when the external world can feel unstable. And then once you look from within as a leader, embrace those lessons. I'll tell you, adversity is a powerful teacher, but only if you as a leader are willing to learn. Challenges can reveal, like those blind spots whenever we're driving. It can expose growth areas, sharpens our strategies. And on my journey, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? I had to come to a point where I started to say, what is this teaching me? This shifting in mindset transformed failure into fuel. Leaders who learn to embrace the lessons within setbacks are the ones who innovate, adapt, and rise stronger. And I'll tell you something else, a little bit of the secret sauce. If those lessons are not learned, expect to have to take the course over. It can be very easy to default and say, I can't wait to get out of this, or I'm tired of this challenge or this struggle. But if in leadership, we fail to truly seek to understand what the purpose of that adversity is, then we set ourselves up for the potential to repeat an even far more worse lesson. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily that the challenge will go away. But what it does mean is that there will be this uncanny ability to at least know how to navigate through that challenge. And when you do so, then as a leader, you can then lead your teams more efficiently because they will start to mimic their captain. See, a crew is only as strong as its captain. And if the captain is all over the place, or if the captain doesn't know how to sail that ship, oh, you best believe that that ship will truly sink. So once you learn that lesson in it, then you're able to rise stronger as well as align with action. See, reflection alone does not lead to resilience. Action is what propels leaders forward. Of course, it may be more comfortable standing on the sideline, but boy, oh boy, you got to get in the play. You must get into the action. You must take that leap forward because it's not about perfection, it's about progress. And it's about being kind to yourself and giving yourself grace when you may not get it right initially. For entrepreneurs and leaders, this action might mean taking a calculated risk that no one else understands, realigning with a team, or setting boundaries, healthy boundaries that will prioritize your long term success. So for me, it meant redefining my career to align with what mattered the most. If this entrepreneurial spirit was really within me, then I couldn't just take shortcuts. I just couldn't play. But I learned that the lessons that my career within education and human resources taught me, it helped me for running my business even more effectively. See, leaders thrive when their actions align with values and goals, even when the path feels uncertain. Which begs the question, are your actions aligning with your leadership goals? And then that leads me to the D. Once those actions align, then in this lead framework, you can develop others. See, resilience doesn't stop with only personal growth, but it extends outward. It's like an octopus with multiple arms. That octopus is never closed in, but rather those arms extend outwardly. So, the most influential leaders that I have read, researched about, and studied use those experiences to empower those that they lead. Developing others means fostering and cultivating resilience within teams, building cultures of trust, and mentoring future leaders. Mentoring future leaders. One of the ultimate tests of leadership And a true sign of confidence in a leader is when a leader is not intimidated by those that they lead. Or perhaps there may be someone on a team that's even more skilled or talented or gifted than that leader. An effective leader who wants to truly unleash resilience, they will pour even more into that team member because they see something in them that they know is a spark and a light that can transform even other people. See, if there is insecurity about the ability to lead, then hey, it's best to just step aside altogether from leadership itself because you want to have team members who know something that you might not know, because then that relationship can be reciprocal. You pour into them and they pour into you. I always loved having those younger teachers on my team that I evaluated and coached because those young teachers fresh out of college had such innovative ideas that I didn't know. And they were able to teach me much more. Or even in the coaching world, with the health coaching, looking into the younger ones who had different outside of the box ideas that I could go to and ask questions was a game changer for me because I was able to share the lessons with them from my own journey. And they also taught me something that I didn't know. So, whenever this is done and we build those types of cultures and communities, we can find that leaders can then create legacies that extend far beyond their own achievements. And that's the beautiful part of this thing that we call leadership. Every leader's journey is a cycle of challenge, growth, and renewal. The resilience gained from navigating setbacks is what equips leaders to inspire, to influence, to encourage others on a far more larger scale. And in going back to the example of Celia Cruz, she didn't just overcome adversity. Celia used it, baby, as a platform to elevate others, and her resilience inspired a generation of musicians, leaders, dreamers, and even a Southern, Black, Latino entrepreneur, former teacher like me, who saw her as a beacon of hope. Leaders like her and like you have the power to transform not just their own lives, but the lives of those that they touch. Entrepreneurs, executives, and innovators don't just lead organizations or projects, they lead people, teams, communities, and movements. Resilience isn't just a tool of survival, but it is the foundation for creating an effect, a ripple effect that lasts. The late Maya Angelou once said, "I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it." In the face of uncertainty, hold on to this, that resilient leaders look within for clarity. And unleashing resilience isn't just about overcoming challenges. It's about creating opportunities, amplifying influence, and building a legacy that endures. That's the kind of leadership that the world is waiting for, and they are waiting for you. Thank you.
Thank you for participating in today's enlightening session. As we transition to our next expert, remember that each strategy and insight is a step toward becoming a transformative leader in your field. Visit connectedleadersacademy.com to stay engaged and informed. The journey of change is ongoing. Let's move forward together.